I got bored. I got so fucking bored. Do you know what I decided to do? I decided to troll the internet for the worst possible, like, amateur books and fan fictions, and my god did I hit the jackpot. And I know what you're thinking right now. Books, they're for nerds, they're for dorks, right? Wrong. No, incorrect. This is for people who like to laugh, except for me who had to read it because that was considerable pain, and hours lost of my life I'll never get back. But I condensed it all into a fun video for you so you can enjoy it with me. Let's just get into this piece of shit. Now, it's going to be very easy to think this was written by maybe like a child or a 12-year-old for like their English homework for school. I assure you that's not the case. This was written by an adult woman who put her work out into the public domain for critique, for commentary, for review, for, you know, whatever, okay? So don't have a go at me for being mean. Have a go at this book. Allow me now to read to you the intro of this masterpiece. Molly Elizabeth Winter is a 20-year-old woman. She is also a wolf. She's also a wolf, but they don't treat it with any, like, and her big secret, she's a wolf. There's none of that shit. It just goes straight into it, but on we go. Living in a small cabin alone within the White Moon Pack, she lost her parents 2 years ago when there was a rough attack. A rough attack? Sure, there was a rough attack. Never popular in the pack, but since losing her parents, she has somehow become the pack's slave. She cooks, clean, washes. She is a size 20, where others find her repulsive. She finds herself loving her figure. Once she asked her alpha if she could leave the pack, the answer she got was a no, accomplished by a public beating. The only way she would get out of this pack is if she finds her mate. So that's our main character. There are stakes. Most of that was one sentence, by the way. I think there was like one comma in there. This author is astoundingly bad at punctuating her work. We'll see a lot of that. And then, okay, the second part of the introduction here. Austin Lee Orton. Austin Lee Orton is a feared alpha all over the world. He loves to see the fear in their, of course it's the wrong there, eyes when they see him. He hasn't found his mate yet, and he doesn't want to. He can run his pack by himself. The only thing he cares about is making his pack stronger and more feared. So we can obviously see what's going to happen here, like just straight from the blurb, right? You know what the ending of this book's going to be. They're going to be together, right? Like, she's giving it away. Anyway, let's get into chapter 1. Now, chapter 1 is brilliantly named. Not very nice. Not very nice. And that's sort of a foreshadowing for the reader's experience here. Get ready, because most of this is one sentence, so I'm going to probably need my inhaler at some point. Waking up, I pull the thin sheet off my chin. It's no use, I'm freezing. The sheet back I climb off my thin mattress on the floor. Going to my small bathroom, I turn the tap on. I only have cold water as I'm not allowed hot, obviously the wrong allowed. It's an exclamation mark, then a comma, then a space. I wash myself down and get dressed. I only have 2 blouses with 2 skirts and a pair of shoes. Putting on my clothes, I go to the kitchen and make myself a sandwich. I hear purring and look over to my cat Tabby. Nobody knows that I have her. This cat Tabby, you'll find out, serves, at least to the point I've read, absolutely no plot purpose whatsoever. Tabby is the fucking biggest waste of space ever. She's like Finn in Star Wars. She does nothing except fill pages. What a theme of this book's going to be, you'll notice this author just likes to fill space. I think if she just thought, right, okay, if I just fill space and lines with the most mundane crap, then I've written a book. It's great. We'll get to it. Hi, baby girl. I hold her close, my only friend. I love her so much. Going to the counter, I get the last of my milk and pour it into the only bowl I have. I guess she shares that with Tabby. I give her some of my scraps I have left, even though she just made a sandwich. She just made a sandwich and now she's like foraging around through scrap. A sandwich is like a pretty extravagant meal if you're like a slave, as she called it, and she's foraging through scraps, you know? Like, why don't you just eat like one piece of bread at a time and then one of the ingredients and then, you know, like, don't tell me like your character just gets a little bit Lou makes a sandwich and is then foraging around through scraps to feed her cat. I mean, why she even got this cat if she can't feed the fucking thing? I don't like that. I don't like that. I wish I had more to give her. Well, you did just make a whole sandwich. Going over to my thin blanket, I fluff it up as best I can so she can stay a little warmer. Be good, baby girl. That's the second time she calls her baby girl. I think that's all she calls the cat. I don't think she ever refers to the cat by name. I place a kiss on her head and rub her under her chin. The room fills with a soft purring. I leave my cabin and make my way to the pack house. The pack house, ladies and gentlemen. The pack house. I see some people in wolf form and some in human form walking around the border. Border's spelt wrong. It's only 5 a.m. in the morning. Or 5 a.m. in the morning, as she writes here. Hey fatty, make sure you leave some food for us. That's the first line of dialogue anyone says to our main character is, hey fatty, which I love, that's great. Colin shouts, he is one of the warriors. The concept of the warriors doesn't get explained really. I keep walking, hearing the laughter behind me. Entering the pack house, I start making their breakfast. When I cooked it all, my stomach rumbles. I place it all out, I hear movement in the house. I wash all the pans and put them away. Someone's coming downstairs. The Luna and Alpha walk in and sit down. Now, a bit of context. In this universe, the Alpha's like the king and the Luna's like the queen of these wolf packs, basically. That's all you need to know. Just think of it like that, king and queen. Luna, Alpha, it all gets a bit messy. King and queen. So the Luna and the Alpha walk in and sit down. They never say anything to me, so I don't say anything. I just pick up the wash basket and walk out the room. So that's like our character's, like, you know, how she feels about what like seemed to be the main antagonists of this story. Her first encounter with them, they just walk into a room and never say anything to her. So that's okay. Walking upstairs, I go to their bedroom, the wrong there, of course. Open the balcony door and then change the bed and remake it, picking up the clothes off the floor. I walk into the bathroom and start cleaning. This is riveting stuff, isn't it? I'm cooked and I cleaned and then I cooked again. I put the washing out and start cleaning and go to Shelley's room. She goes to Shelley's room. Shelley is the daughter of the Luna and the Alpha, so the king and the queen. She's like the little princess of the wolf pack, Shelley. I tap on the door, Shelley opens it. She slams me into the wall and a picture falls down, the frame shattering. Mum, Molly broke a picture. I hear the Luna and Alpha come upstairs. You little bitch! The Luna screams at me and punches me in the stomach. I bend over trying to get my breath back. I fall to the floor. The Alpha kicks me in the ribs. Hearing a crack, he smiles. Clean this up now! Alpha shouts when they walk away. He's shouting that as he's walking away. Clean this now! I'm happy they don't get a mark on my face because I have a secret that I will never tell them. I get to my feet and get a dustpan and brush and clean away the glass and then make my way into Shelley's room. I thought she was in Shelley's room when Shelley shoved her against the wall and she broke the... whatever. I shake my head. This was spotless yesterday. I should know I cleaned it. One sentence. And now it looks like a bomb has gone off in here. It sounds like your mum shouting at you, doesn't it? But this is meant to be like a fantasy world with like werewolves and magic, and they're like using like common parlance that we use here, whatever. I get to work cleaning and picking up the clothes as well as the other disgusting things. What are they? I pick up the wash basket that is full, and how many clothes is she wearing a day? And then go back downstairs and start putting the clothes in the washing machine. In the kitchen, everyone has finished and gone. There are a few scrapes left on the table. I'm sure she meant scraps. There are a few scrapes left on the table. I'm allowed to have these. So taking a couple of food bags, I place the scrapes inside. I take the bottle of milk, the table, and put the food bags ready to take home later. I make myself busy washing all the dishes and cups when they are done and put away. I clean the kitchen table and get the crumbs off the floor. It's so fucking mundane. You've established your character is a slave. You've established she is verbally and physically abused by her captors, her pack, whatever you want to call them. She's the bottom of the pecking order. We don't need every next scene to be her cooking and cleaning and washing and cooking. And we know, we get it. You could have done this on page 1. You could have done this on page 1. Right? She could have had page 1, a little explanation into the character. Here's my cat, whatever. Whatever. She goes into Shelley's room. Shelley punches her, abuses her, and then is like, don't make me call my mother and father. And then we'd know from there, because it would be like a bit of a Harry Potter living at the Dursleys thing, right? Was that the name? No, the Dursleys. Because then we'd know, like, oh, the whole family are against her. Everyone's against her. No, we don't need every single character to come up and boot her like some sort of penalty kick. It's crazy. But yeah, on we go. I make myself busy by washing all the dishes and cups. When they're done, I put them away, I clean the table. I then get on with the dusting and hoovering. It's a big house, I have a sweat, I wipe my forehead, blowing out a breath. The washing machine beeps, letting me know there's a load to be taken out. Now this is one of the things I find most interesting about this story. As I said earlier, it's meant to be like, you know, a fantasy, and they live in this like magical werewolf world where there's all magic and shit, but they have like washing machines and doorbells and like supermarkets and stuff. It's all very bizarre. It's all very, very bizarre. Like, where do they live? Just like down a road somewhere? Like some sort of, like, anyone could get there, like this public road? Like, they should be, you know, in the middle of a forest, like washing on one of them old Victorian scrubbing things. You know, it's weird. And why are they wearing clothes? Why don't they just be wolves? Like, why bother being in your human form? But that doesn't obviously get explained either. The washing machine beeps, letting me know there's a load ready to be taken out. Taking out the load of the washing machine, I put another in, carrying the basket of fresh clothes. I walk around the washing line and hang them up. Walking back to the pack house, I'm pushed from behind. I fall to the floor. I feel a lot of pressure on my back. Colin has his foot on my back. This is an amazing line of dialogue, right? Get ready for this. Well, well, look what we have here. The fat cow. God. This is clearly her putting herself into this fantasy world, and I worry about her self-image, the way these characters speak to her. I mean, what was the first line? Like, hey, you fat bitch. And then this guy's just like kicked her and went, wow, the fat cow. Like, it's horrible, man. He takes his foot off my back and kicks my side. Slowly, standing up slowly, I brush myself down and pick up the basket. Walking back into the pack house, I go to the laundry room. I will not let the tears fall. And that's written like in one sentence. There's no, yeah. I see Shelley in the doorway of the laundry room. Uh-oh, Shelley. That's the closest thing you'll ever get to a man. She sneers and walks off, grabbing the milk and the scraps. Hey, she got scraps right. From the corner. I run home. As soon as I get in, I put the food down and pick up Tabby. You see, the same things just happened over and over and over. Hello, baby girl. Same thing you said last time. She puts her head under my chin. You know I love you. I have to get back. I put Tabby on the blanket and put her some milk out, then make my way back to the pack house. I swear that has been copy and pasted from the last page. She says, hello, baby girl, to Tabby, gives Tabby some love, puts some milk out for her, and then has to get her back to the pack house. So why did you go home? What did you do there? Emergency pack meeting, now! The Alpha orders. The Alpha. We all make our way into the meeting room. Everyone sits down apart from me, as I'm not allowed to. I've just received a call from Alpha Austin. There are gasps around the room. Silence! He and his beta and his warrior want to stay here for a few days. They've been on a long trip and want a break. So him and his beta and his warrior. You'll notice like they come in I think there's these 4 categories. There's betas, alphas, betas, warriors, and then I think that's it. Him and his beta want to go there anyway. Are you allowing it? One person asks. How can I say no? It will be like declaring war. But don't worry, I have it covered. Molly! Yes, Alpha, Molly says. This author hasn't got the concept of explaining who's speaking, so you have to just kind of guess. There's literally pages where it's just that, and it's not like, I said, he looked at me and said. There's none of that. You have to just take a punt, have a guess who's talking. This could be a masterpiece, like, if I just knew who was speaking. I need you to go upstairs and make 3 rooms, do all the cooking, clean everywhere. Well, don't just stand there, go, he shouts. I leave the room, like, he did that all in one sentence. He didn't even give her a chance to tell her what to do. I need you to go and make 3 spare rooms, do all the cooking, clean everywhere. Well, don't just stand there, go! Like, there wasn't like, I stood with apprehension, frozen on the spot, unsure of what he wanted from me. Like, there was none of that. Like, there was none of what was going through her mind. There was none of, like, I could hear the urgency in his voice. There was nothing like that. So off she goes to clean some rooms. It's pretty boring. Now, here's where things get weird. I place all the food out. My stomach grumbles. Food again. Everyone comes into the room all dressed up. The doorbell goes. There's doorbells. I walk over to the door and open it. So she's opened the door. I look into his blue eyes, then put my head down. My wolf is going crazy. The most feared alpha in the world is my mate. The only thing I can do is open the door wider. So not only have we just had like a very confusing, like she's the bottom of the ladder piece of shit with this pack, and this other like extremely powerful pack leaders come over. She's just revealed to us for some unknown reason, out of bumfuck nowhere, that he's in fact her mate, and her wolf's going crazy about that. So maybe it turns out to be like a soulmates thing, although again, that never really gets touched on. Anyway, but then I love the follow-up to that, like the follow-up to that reveal, and presumably the driving plot force of this tale. She just goes, the only thing I can do is open the door wider. It's the only thing you can do. We couldn't like get inside your head a little bit, like what do you mean you're a wolf? That's the first time we've heard about people having their wolves speaking to them from inside. What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Why? How do you know he's your mate? Like, there's all these things you could get into and like get me more, you know, compelled to carry on this story. Like, oh, I need answers to these questions. Anyway, welcome, Alpha Austin. Please come in. Oh no, sorry, she said that. Welcome, Alpha Austin. Please come in. He walks past me. I step back as not to touch him. He walks in with his beta and warrior. I close the door with me on the other side and walk to my cabin, right? So you'll notice, like, so far there's just been so much like just walking back and forth and cleaning, washing, cooking, cleaning, walking back and forth and back to my cabin and to the pack house, to their cabin, it's so much shit. Right. Now, the author goes out of her way at this point to tell us this is Molly's point of view, even though it never stopped being Molly's point of view. This whole story so far has been Molly's point of view. But anyway, Molly's point of view. Walking into my cabin, I see Tabby. That brings a smile to my face. I pick her up and sit her on the thin mattress, stroking her fur. Her purring is like music to my ears. Hearing a twig snap outside, I get up and walk to the window. I smell food. That's weird. Must be because I'm so hungry. I get undressed and pull the sheet, and we both fall asleep. That's how Molly's point of view there ends. She goes and strokes Tabby, and she smells some food and goes to sleep. That was the... Why did you write that? Why did you write that piece of text? What am I supposed to glean from that? What does that tell me about Molly as a character? What does that tell me about the story? What does that tell me about what's happening with this other pack? Why did you bother with... See, it's like I said at the beginning, this author just wants to fill space. Okay, now, we change now to Alpha Austin's point of view. So this is Alpha Austin. Okay, so this is Alpha Austin's point of view, and this gets a little bit confusing because she doesn't know when to tell you who's speaking and who's not. Alpha Austin, it's a pleasure to have you here, Alpha Frank says. So Alpha Frank is the person who, up to this point in the story, has been a dick to her, who's the leader, the king of this wolf pack. But she's never bothered to tell us his name before, not once. I don't know why we don't find out until this very confusing exchange here between these two characters. Alpha Austin, it's a pleasure to have you here, Alpha Frank says. I'm sure it is. Looking at this Alpha and seeing his fear makes me feel sick. This is my wife and mate, Luna Betty. And this gorgeous young lady is my daughter, Shelley. Welcome, Alpha Austin, I grunt. Now, it's literally written like that. And now, this bit is what confused me. So remember, we're in Alpha Austin's point of view. And then this line says, welcome, Alpha Austin, I grunt. So is he grunting that at himself? That would be like me like coming back in and going, "Hi, Jamie. Come, please, let's eat," Betty says Shelley there, our daughter takes my arm. That is written like that. I'm going to put these up on the screen. I'm not making these up. "Come, please, let's eat," Betty says Shelley, their daughter takes my arm. "Don't touch me." She lets go and blushes. "Introduce yourselves." "Yes, Alpha, my name is Beta Phillip." You see how confusing this all is? When you're introducing new characters, you need to make it perfectly clear who's who, what they look like, who's speaking, who's in the scene, who's not. There's all these... I didn't even know Beta Phillip was there, really, up until this point. "My name is Ronnie, and I'm the warrior." And that's about as much character development you're going to get out of Ronnie. He's a warrior. We sit at the table. It's quiet. It's quite, just the way I like it. I mind link with Philip. Now, this is one of my major issues with this story so far. Mind links. So she just casually drops on the reader here that two characters mind link without explaining to us what a mind link is. Now, it sounds like it's going to be quite an integral plot device that the characters use. It sounds like that anyway, I hope so. But she doesn't explain what a mind link is. She doesn't explain what a mind link's limitations are. She doesn't explain how do they do it. Can anyone do it? What is it? Can you talk in telepathically? Can you see someone's memories? Can you read their mind? Can you control them? They just mind link. Is it like a soulmate bond thing for life? No, she just went, "I mind link with Philip. I mind link with Philip." It's like high five Philip. It's like that. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. I want to know where the woman who let us in went. Now, presumably that he says that telepathically over the mind link, even though she gives us no indication. She doesn't say, "I mind link with Philip," and then maybe in italics have this conversation between the two of them, or say and we intensely look at each other across the table as we mind link and exchange thoughts and words, something like that, so we know what's happening. Please. I want to know where the woman who let us in went, and of course that's our hero. Yes, Alpha. Philip stands, and so does Ronnie, even though he didn't mind link with Ronnie. Everyone looks up at them as they open the door and walk out. They're going to look around. Is that a problem? I stare at this so-called Alpha. Of course not. How was your trip? Alpha Frank asks. Well done. She actually did it that time. She told me who was speaking. Long, I say. Philip and Ronnie walk in an hour later and sit down. Nobody says anything. Philip mind links with me. Alpha. She lives in a small cabin, just one room and a small bathroom. She has a cat. She sleeps on a thin mattress on the floor. There is no bed other than furniture. No fridge, just a counter, no bath or a shower, just a sink and a tap. Well, thanks for telling us what we learned on the first page, Philip. I really appreciate that. Who is the cook here? The food is very nice, I ask. Just a maid, nobody special. How many maids do you have? He looked quite unhappy with the question. Like I care. Alpha Austin is a fucking bad boy. He doesn't answer to anyone. Just one, he answers. Is everyone in your pack apart from them patrolling? Very strange question. I don't know what that means. Yes, this is everyone, Alpha Frank says. Who was the woman who let us in? Oh, her, she is a nobody, he says. And then this is a very confusing line. Well, that explains it. I rise from my seat. I would like to be shown to our rooms where we will be staying. We are tired. So I don't know what Alpha Austin meant when he said, well, that explains it. Explains what? Explains what? What does that explain to you, Alpha Austin? Anyway, of course, Betty shows us where our rooms are. I walk in, I can smell her. It's faint, but she was here. Probably made these rooms up. Staring spelt with an E. At the ceiling, lost its appeal. I jump out the window to find her cabin. So I infer from context here that he was shown to his room, he was lying on his bed, he for some reason couldn't get his mind off Molly the maid, who does nothing but be a maid. Betty shows them where their rooms are, and then in literally the same paragraph, without explaining anything in between, he's like, I'm sick of tired and look at the ceiling, I must find her, I need her. And we still don't know why or what the deal is. I look through the window, so he jumps out the window. I look through the window and see her sleeping. I can hear her stomach rumbling from here. I mind link Philip to get her some food. When he arrives, we leave the food by the door and walk away. And that's the end of it. That's his big, like, I have to see her. All he did, he mind links Philip, because mind links seem to be able to just solve everything. And obviously we infer, the reader infers, obviously what a mind link can do by now. It seems to just be a telepathic conversation, but that's not my job. It's not my job to fill in the blanks as the reader. So they leave us some food and I walk away again, I guess. Molly's point of view. Waking up, I take a quick wash, I get dressed, I wrap Tabby in the sheet and grab my clothes from yesterday. I wash them in the sink, I walk to the door, opening it. I almost step on the plate. I can't believe it. Somebody left me food, a plate full of food and a full bottle of milk. All one sentence. I step over the food and place my clothes on some tree branches to dry, walking back. Shouldn't your character be like really hungry and, oh my God, a full plate of food? This is, isn't that the whole thing of this gesture? Like, you're the maid and you get treated like crap, but here's a whole, proper plate of food. Like, shouldn't your character like fall to her knees, like mouth watering, famished, just insatiably, shouldn't she be like that? Like, she's like, I'll get there later, I'll go hang my clothes out first. She comes back in, she wraps Tabby in the sheet again, and she talks to Tabby some more. So she hangs her clothes out over some tree branches, like that's something we needed to know about, like that's going to develop her character any further than that already has, telling us she does a lot of housework, she does a lot of cleaning, like we know, we get it. Walking back to the food, I look around, picking up the plate, and milk. I take it inside, I give Tabby a bowl full of milk, we share the food on the plate, I have a quick drink of milk, put it on the counter, washing the plate, I put it by the door ready to take with me. Now notice at this point, she's not like apprehensive about eating this food, she doesn't feel guilty, like of course she'd eat it, she'd like I said, she'd get it all down her in seconds, but wouldn't she be like, why? Who? Me? Like, should I eat this? Is this a trick? What have I done to deserve this? Like, I almost feel guilty for this. Like, there's none of that. She's just like, yeah, I ate it, and I did the washing up, and then that's all it is. It's so weird. Like, the character doesn't behave in any way you would expect her to. Wrapping up Tabby in the sheet, I give her a kiss, grabbing the plate, she makes her way to the pack house. I don't see anyone on the way. Letting myself in, I see all the plates from last night. This is why I decided to come early. It's 4:00 a.m. Gathering the plates as quietly as I can so I can start washing, drying, putting things away. When the dishes are done, I clean the table, get on my hands and knees and dust the blah, 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 blah. She's cleaning again, guys. When everywhere is clean, I start making breakfast. When it's all put out, I get my cleaning supplies ready. You've just done your cleaning. I turn around. I manage to hide my gasp. The sofa at the back of the room has someone sitting on it. The sofa has someone on it. Putting my head down, I wait to see what they want. Do you always start this early? It's Alpha Austin. Yes, Alpha. This whole exchange is amazing. A perfect example of how this writer she cannot write dialogue to save her life. Like she cannot write dialogue. Like, okay, she came up with a concept for a story, that's fine, but she cannot write dialogue. I'm sorry, you just can't. Yes, Alpha. What is your name? Molly Elizabeth Winter. Are you the maid? I guess yes, Alpha. Where are your parents? Dead, Alpha. Why are you not all over me? You don't want me, Alpha. Good, happy you understand. His whole character trait is he's a dick. I am ready, Alpha. Ready for what? Ready for you to reject me. He just did. He really, really did. I'm not going to. I don't understand, Alpha. Just because I don't want you doesn't mean my wolf doesn't. Okay. Don't tell anyone I'm your mate. I won't. You have a cat? Oh, okay. Well, fuck this. Right, fuck this. Fuck that. There's just been this big, romantic reveal, which is the main plot of this story. This is the main driving force of the plot. And he's just said, like, we're mates now. We're bonded now. I'm the alpha. I'm the most biggest, feared, toughest alpha of this other wolf pack. And I've just chosen you, this lowly slave girl, as my new mate. Because on some some level, some soul level, with our wolves have bonded and we're like soulmates and we're meant to be together, and you're my mate now, and I'm not going to reject you, and I know everyone else rejects you, but I'm not, and I'm going to treat you well. And then you have a cat. And she just says, okay. It's just so bizarre the way all these characters speak to each other. The way this writer refuses to develop her characters in any way borders on contempt for them. It's like she had a gun to her head writing this book. Like, you really didn't have to do it. You really didn't have to do it. And you certainly didn't have to put it up like it was done. Like, I've wrote shitty things before. Just like, if I was writing a book, like, these would be like my skeleton, like pre-skeleton notes, like bare bones, like this is probably what they'll say in this scene, I guess, maybe. And that would be like a note on my phone. This wouldn't be up for people to read like it's a finished piece of work. Oh, but let's carry on. Let's carry on. We've just been told that Alpha Austin and Molly, they're mates now, I guess, because the plot, this is just the direction that the author wanted the plot to go without really bothering to explain why. Now, one thing of note thus far, the author has not explained what any character looks like. So typically in books I've read since I was about 6 years old, they'll say something like, he was a tall man with brown hair. Now, when you get to adult books, you'd have something more like, she was a short, evil-looking woman with a pinched face and a piercing eyes, with a scar. Like, you know what? You have like these descriptive things about the characters, especially about the primary love interest of the story and the rivals. Like, so Alpha Austin, when she sees him for the first time, she should have been, he had a chest as wide as an oak tree and luscious long blonde hair and emerald green eyes that saw through me, through space and time. This is your love interest. You should tell us what the main character is seeing in them and feeling about them and stuff. But no, it's just his name is Alpha Austin and his character ends and dies there. That's all you're gonna get. You have a cat. How do you know? Oh no, the food on the table. Please don't tell them, Alpha, please. Shut up, I won't. Weird response. Shut up, I won't. Thank you, Alpha. I hear movement from upstairs. I move to get my cleaning supplies. He sits down at the table. Are you not going to eat? He asks. I'm only allowed the scraps when you've all finished. He looks up at me weird. Just then, people start to... He looks up at me weird. Just then, people start to walk in the room. No one speaks as I move past them upstairs. Walking into the Alpha's room, I clean and pick up all the clothes. I move on to Shelley's room. This time, she's already left the room. I clean and put things back in their place. I move on to the next room, which the beta is staying in. I clean the bathroom, although it's not really messy. I take the sheets off the bed just as I'm finishing up the bedroom, when the door opens and in walks the beta. I am aghast that you've given your main character, our hero, the protagonist, the person from whom we see the story unfold through their eyes, you've given us nothing. She just cleans. She just cleans. And imagine if you cut out all this stuff about how much she cooks and cleans and cooks and washes, and we'd be on page 1 still. We'd be on page 1. But anyway, in walks the beta. We move straight into the next chapter. It's got my favourite name out of all the chapters, because this chapter is called Preparing the Barbecue, which sounds like 5 steps to the perfect summer day. Step 3, preparing the barbecue. But instead, this is chapter 3 of like a fantasy romance novel. Preparing the barbecue. Anyway, let's enjoy preparing the barbecue. So this is Molly's point of view. What are you doing in here? I'm sorry, I was just changing the bed. Is this what you do every morning? Yes, Beta. My name is Philip. Yes, Beta Philip. No, just Philip. I'm sorry, Beta Philip. I must be respectful at all times. At that moment, Alpha Austin enters the room. What's going on? Alpha Austin asks. I was just cleaning and changing the bed, Alpha. I walk past him, I walk out the room, Shelley bumps into me. Watch it, bitch. She shoves me against the wall. I drop the washing, fall to the floor. She kicks me hard in the stomach and walks away. I hear a small growl. Picking up the washing with my head down, I walk into the next room and knock. The warrior opens the door. So that's like the second time that she's been in Shelley's room. Shelley's pushed her against the wall and kicked her. But anyway, she walks to the next room and the warrior opens the door. Good morning, sir. I'm here to clean your room. Good morning. My name is Ronnie and the room is still clean. Riveting. Would you like me to change the bedsheets for you? There's no need, I'm good. Okay, goodbye, Ronnie, sir. That's the exchange. That's like the first time we get some real depth, real like character development into Warrior Ronnie and what he's all about and what he looks like and his role in things and how, you know, how he's viewing the events. And I guess we see that he's a little bit nicer. I walk down the hallway feeling 3 sets of eyes on me. Walking back through the kitchen to the utility room, I start on the washing. I clean the kitchen, placing the scraps in the bag to take home later. I place the milk next to the scraps. Yeah, we know. Yeah, you do the scraps, you do the washing. Oh, fuck me. Do some fucking writing. What's this? Ronnie is holding the food bag. So Ronnie's there as well. He's just in his room, but now he's there. It's my food, sir. He places the bag down and goes to say something else when Shelley, Alpha Frank, and Luna Betty walk in. But anyway, so the 3 fuckers have entered the room, the 3 bad guys, basically. They just think of them like that. Molly, we're having a barbecue tonight in honor of our guests. So you need to get the food. So they're wolves, but they're mainly in human form and they just eat like barbecue and human food and like hang out and like a barbecue? Like, why can't they go and hunt like wolves do? Like, that would be much more exciting if it was like, Molly, we're going on the hunt tonight and it could be dangerous. And then that could create some drama. Like, someone could get injured. There could be a fight. There could, instead of, oh, we're having a barbecue and like, I want you to like pick up like a 24 pack of beer and some burgers and sausages. And, you know, can you go do that for us? Like, no, she doesn't. The author chooses not to do anything fun ever. Yes, Alpha. I'll be sending Colin with you. Colin walks through the door and smiles at me. May I go home and have a wash, Alpha? Granted. Then meet Colin at the supermarket. Again, it's this weird thing the author does of like mixing up the very normal, real modern world that we all live in. But there's also this like family of werewolves living just around the corner, I guess. Like I said, they must just all live down a normal road because they're in close proximity to a supermarket where they can buy food, and it sounds like normal civilization. So there's never a thing about like maybe they want to eat people, or maybe like one pack does and one pack doesn't and they disagree, or certain wolves do and don't. Like, that could be interesting. But they live in perfectly civilized society. They shop at a supermarket. I wonder what it is. I wonder if it's Tesco. I wonder if they've got a goddamn club card. So she's going to go to her room and have a wash before she meets Colin at the supermarket. Wow. Can you really feel the momentum of the plot building here? Can you feel it? They all walk out except Alpha Austin along with Philip and Ronnie. So, right, okay. I grab the scraps and walk out the door, running all the way home. I enter the cabin, give Tabby a hug, placing some scraps out for her, give her some milk, walk into the bathroom. Again, scraps, Tabby, and milk. You cut those 3 words out, we're on page 2 at this point. Walking back to the room, I see Alpha Austin holding Tabby. This is our first sort of like drama, like conflict. Please don't hurt her. I'm not hurting her. How do you get to the supermarket? Yeah, because that's what the reader's wondering right now. How do they get to the supermarket? Are they in the bus? Do they walk? How do they get to the supermarket? I walk, Alpha. It's not quite. It's quite a walk. Do you shift? No, Alpha. I'm forbidden to shift. What? Alpha, I must go. If I keep him waiting, I'll be in worse trouble. How will you get back? He will take a car and bring the food back. I will walk home, then I must prepare the garden for the barbecue. Please, Alpha, I must leave. Brilliant. Fun. So, she introduces another, like, magical concept of shifting, which presumably is when they go from human form into wolf form. So, she just drops, boom, shifting on us, just like she dropped mind links. Again, without explaining, like, well, maybe they can only shift when it's nighttime. Maybe it has to be a full moon. Maybe only certain wolves can do it. Maybe it takes up considerable power or energy or something, anything, please, other than just saying, do you shift? No, I'm not allowed to shift. It's rubbish. But anyway, Colin, I think it was, is going to take the car. She's going to walk there, meet Colin, who's presumably 30 minutes ahead of her, and then walk back. So, like, what's Colin going to do while she's walking there? Why can't she get in the car with Colin and, because Colin's going to just be sitting. He will take the car, bring the food back. I will walk home, then I must prepare the garden for the barbecue. Please, Alpha, I must leave. You must think me a bastard watching them treat you like this. No, not at all. I don't think there's a lot that could hurt me now. I could save you. Yeah, because you've really been nice to her so far, Alpha Austin. You've really been a cool guy. All you've done is like growled and snarled and told her to go away and shut up and get out. And now you're acting like, I could save you. I could save you. No, I don't want to be a burden to you. I know you don't want me. At least I know where I stand here, what to expect. I have Tabby. She makes me happy. She's just Stockholm Syndrome, I guess, just perfectly happy to live in this life of servitude. I do not expect anyone to love me. I'm sorry, Alpha. I must leave. And with that, I ran out the door. Now, brilliantly here, the author forgets to close speech here. So this is on the page, it reads as all one line of dialogue to Alpha Austin. So this is, within the context of this book, this is what she says word for word to Alpha Austin. I do not expect anyone to love me. I'm sorry, Alpha. I must leave. And with that, I ran out the door. I ran all the way to the supermarket and Colin is standing by a car talking to a woman. I walk closer when Colin finally notices me. He walks into the supermarket. I follow, grabbing a trolley on the way. We get all the food that we need and I place all the bags in the car while Colin sits in the driver's seat. As soon as I close the boot, he takes off, full stop. Give her the benefit of the doubt. And we know that she's just met Colin at the supermarket. They've got the food and put it in the car. Fantastic. Wow. I think Lord of the Rings started like this. I walk into the woods, then I take off, running. And suddenly there are two wolves by my side. I stop, not recognizing them. I was meant to be a comma there. I stop, not recognizing them. I hear bones crack. And then Beta Philip is standing in front of me. Please climb on Ronnie's back. We will take you to your cabin. No point in arguing. I get on Ronnie's back. And then we are off as quick. I'm sorry, like I can read, but this is fucking hard to get through. This is a hard read just because there's just grammatical errors all over the place. None of it's punctuated. It's so hard to read. So she gets on Ronnie's back and they run her back to the cabin. Walking into the cabin, Alpha Austin is still there. He says nothing, just looks at me. Alpha, I do not have time to sit and talk to you. I must get to the pack house and put all the food away. I need to arrange the garden for the barbecue because the tables, chairs, and get all the meat ready. This is all you have? He asks me, looking around the cabin. Yes, Alpha. Go! That's a weird. So he like begins a conversation with her. Like you think, oh, he's about to empathize with her. He's pitying her. He's looking around. This is all you have. This is your life. And she goes, yeah. Go! It's such a strange exchange between these two apparent love interests, the two main characters from what I can tell. And like Alpha Austin wanted to save her a minute ago and now he's just screaming at her again. Alpha Austin doesn't know where he is or what he wants. Just one word from him, I am running all the way to the pack house. I see Colin walking in, leaving all the food in the car, opening the boot. I grab as many bags as I can and make my way inside. It takes me 3 trips and I put all the food away. Making my way back out, I put the tables in place and the chairs. I get the barbecue in. To my disappointment, it needs cleaning. Oh no. To my disappointment as well, because now we're going to have another long cleaning scene. To my disappointment, it needs cleaning. I run inside, I grab my cleaning supplies. After the barbecue is clean, I go inside, washing my hands. I make a start on the food. I can feel eyes on me. I turn around and I see Alpha Austin. Surprise! Fucking surprise. Have you noticed so far that like in basically every scene since Alpha Austin arrived at the pack house, he's just been there, he's just been in rooms, she walks into a room, he's there, she turns around, there he is, a door bursts open and it's Alpha Austin and then all he does is shout at her and tell her to go away. Like what is happening in this book? Alpha Austin, can you please stop looking at me and watching me? You are going to leave soon. I don't want anybody to notice the way you watch me. We are leaving tonight after the barbecue. Are you not going to ask me to save you? We are leaving tonight after the barbecue. Are you not going to ask me to save you? No, Alpha. I told you before. I won't beg you to save me. I won't beg you to love me. I won't beg you to accept me. He walks away and I breathe a sigh of relief. A sign of relief, sorry. She breathes a sign of relief. Placing it all on the long table, I bring the meat out and place it next to the barbecue, and then people start making their way around. If they're wolves, why don't they just eat the food like raw, you know? Like, why are they bothering barbecuing it? Like, put a little bit of seasoning on it, you know? They're wolves. Like, we've not seen them be wolves yet. That's not been a part of this werewolf tale. Nobody's been a wolf. They've all been like humans, like hanging out, sitting on sofas, ringing doorbells, using washing machines, going to supermarkets. Like, this sounds more like an episode of EastEnders. Molly's point of view. I stand back and watch as people come around the corner. Darling, you did a fabulous job, Betty says to Frank. Thank you, dear. Alpha Austin comes round the corner, as he always does. I go to walk away when Colin trips me up. I fall flat on my face. Everyone is laughing except Alpha Austin, Beta Philip, and Warrior Ronnie. Ugh. You clumsy, fat, worthless bitch, Colin snaps. Jesus Christ. Just piss off and leave us to it, Shelley snaps. So they're both snapping. Snapping out like turtles. I stand up, dust myself down, and I start walking away when a hand wraps round my waist. I know it's Alpha Austin by the sparks running through my arm. All I can think is, what is he doing? Sparks running through? You might be having a heart attack. Like, if you said the butterflies in my stomach or something, that would make sense. That would, or by his strong touch or something like that. But the sparks running down my arm? I'm trying to think if I've ever been in like a romantic relationship and like my girlfriend's like put her arm around me from behind. I've had sparks down my arm. Sparks, and it's sparks, ladies. It could be like literal electric sparks for all I know. They might have electric powers. It's like, that wouldn't surprise me if she just dropped that on us at this point. I shot a lightning bolt. That was not beyond the realm of possibility in this book. Okay, anyway. So the sparks ran down her arm. Can I help you, Alpha Austin? Enough of this shit, presumably Alpha Austin says. Alpha, Beta Philip says. We are leaving now. I don't know who says that line. Yes, Alpha. Oh, Alpha Austin said that line. Yes, Alpha, Ronnie says. Alpha Austin starts to walk away, dragging me with him. Alpha Austin, you have something that belongs to me. He stops and turns to look at Alpha Frank. Alpha Frank is pointing at me. Another brilliant line, because he stops and turns to look at Alpha Frank. Alpha Frank is pointing at me. So she literally writes Alpha Frank, Alpha Frank. Alpha Frank is pointing at me. Walking back over to Alpha Frank, he says, you think you're going to stop me from taking my mate? Gasps are heard everywhere. She is your mate? Alpha Frank asks. Yes, and she's coming with me, Alpha Austin growls. Sorry, he growled that. I don't know how he growled that when he's not in his werewolf form. Yes, and she's coming with me. Like, how does that sound? No way, man. You get stuck with that fat, ugly bitch. I don't know who said that. He moves so fast, I don't see until it's over. Colin's head has been separated from his body. What happened there? So this is the first major conflict in the book. This is like the first action sequence. This is the first time we see that there's obviously a rivalry between these wolf packs. There's drama happening. And the only explanation we get is he moves so fast, so we don't really know who, presumably Alpha Austin, separates Colin's head from his body. If she said like, Colin moved to stop me, or like Alpha Frank snaps like, Colin, stop them, or something like that, like anything, just to tell us what's happening in this action sequence. But no, we don't, nothing. We just get Colin's head separates from his body, and then that's it. And then someone shouts, you killed him. I don't know who. No shit. I turn round to see Ronnie is not there, but soon comes back and he has Tabby with him. He hands Tabby over to me and everyone is looking at us. Let's go. I don't know who says let's go. Please stay for the barbecue. Please stay for the barbecue, Alpha Frank says. I look at him. Let me just get this straight for a sec. So Alpha Frank has just had like one of his like lieutenant's head separated from his body for seemingly no reason. And his like maid, slave person is being forcibly taken away. Like, we're having her now, she belongs to our pack. And all Alpha Frank can say is, please stay for the barbecue. What is going through his mind? Then I realise he thinks now that I am going with them, they can make an alliance. Oh, so it's like getting political. It's like Game of Thrones now. No, we have to leave now. If I have to come back here, it'll be to kill you all. Oh no, sorry, she didn't even bother to write here. No, we leave now. If I have to come back, it will be to kill you all. With that said, he storms off, but I'm rooted to the spot. I thought he was dragging you, whatever. This way, Luna, Beta Philip steers me toward the car. I get in the back with Ronnie. Beta Philip gets in the driver's seat. Alpha Austin is in the passenger seat, just in case you were wondering where everyone was sitting in the car. We leave the place I have been wanting to escape for years, but I'm not sure whether I'm going to better or worse. We pull up outside the gas station. Again, it's one of these big character moments, like, she's just been saved from servitude and slavery and beatings and misery and mental, psychological, physical abuse. There's no inner, like, how's she feeling right now? Like, what does she feel about this? What's she thinking? Like, what's going through her mind? Like, this is crazy. What does she think of Alpha Austin at this point? We go straight from that potentially character building point to we pull up outside the gas station later. I'm not sure of the time. I haven't kept track. Fun. How long have we been driving? 5 hours, Ronnie answers. How long until we get to your pack? Another day, Ronnie answers. I decide not to ask him any more questions, so I open the door to suddenly feel a hand on my knee. Where do you think you're going? I was just going to stretch my legs and let Tabby have a wee, Alpha. I climb out, I put Tabby on the floor. She goes over to the sand by the road and takes a wee. We walk around, so I guess Alpha Austin did let her out the car. We walk around, I see a hose. I pick it up and turn the water on. Hang on. We walk around, I see a hose. I pick it up, turning the water on. I give Tabby a drink and take a drink myself. Why the fuck is there a hose? Why are you bothering to tell me about a hose at a gas station and your cat pissing rather than give us any form of character development whatsoever? Like, you've introduced the primary conflict now. We know what the primary conflict of this story is now. But we don't know how anyone feels or thinks. We don't know. No one's spoken. No one said anything of pertinence or nothing. There's just there's a hose at a gas station. I had a drink. Yeah. And then, what are you doing? Just having a drink, Alpha. From a hose pipe? I look down at my tatty shoes. He walks away. I take that as my cue to follow him. Picking up Tabby, I rush to my car and climb in. As soon as I shut the door, the car takes off. It's quite, once again, we must travel for hours on end. My butt has gone numb. I look out the window just in time to see us pull up into a motel. We get out, I'm holding Tabby. They follow us. They walk into the office. I stay outside with Beta Philip. How are you holding up? I'm as well as I can be. Beta Philip goes to say something else, but at that moment, Alpha Austin and Warrior Ronnie come out. So have you noticed that's the second time that Beta Philip has gone to say something and then someone just walks in like that? I guess that's the author's way of saying, like, hey, I was going to write some interesting dialogue here, but Alpha Austin's just come back. Like, what am I meant to... So yeah, they stay at a motel. She sits on a chair with Tabby, blah, blah, blah. They get into the motel. I get up and walk over to the bag and pick out a sandwich and a bottle of water. I see some cat food and milk. Alpha Austin, is the cat food and milk for Tabby? Well, I'm not going to eat it, am I? Thank you. I give up. What do you mean you give up? You've been saved, you've been fed, watered, they've taken you to a hotel. You give up? You've given up? What have you given up on? You're good now, girl. You're his mate. You're going to go be his Luna, apparently. You're cool. You're good. What? You give up? I take the cat food and milk and put it out for Tabby. I sit on the bed, the other side as far away from him as I can. I eat my food. When me and Tabby have finished, I clean our things away. Going into the bathroom, I sit on the side of the tub. I just need a breather. Like, here's something I wrote in my notes for this book, for this video. The language this author uses is so, like, crude. Like, when she does use any form of descriptive language, it's so crude. Tabby needs a wee. And I need a breather. If you just injected a tiny little bit of elegance into what your characters say, it could be so much just infinitely better if you said something like, I don't know, exhausted from the trip, my head's spinning, I just needed a moment away from him to catch my breath, to get my thoughts straight. Where are we going? What did he want? What will my life be moving forward? Like, what, rather than being like, I just need a fucking breather. Why can't you write? Why can't you write? Anyway, basically the end of this chapter, she has her breather. She sits on the chair. Alpha Austin's on the bed. Tabby sleeps on her lap. And she wakes up on the bed. And Alpha Austin's obviously put her on the bed. That's the end of They Know. That's the end of the chapter, They Know. And to be perfectly fucking honest, that's all I can muster today. I can't be bothered with any more of that absolute shite. A few things, a few notes. So yeah, I think like a few pieces of advice I would give to this author, who once again is an adult and put this piece of work out in the public domain for anyone to read and see and review and critique. So I'm not being mean. Well, I am, but you deserve it. Cut out all the mundanity, or cut out the rubbish about she's cooking again, she's cleaning, she's getting scraps, she's giving Tabby some milk, she's doing... What purpose in the plot has Tabby served so far? Like, in any other book, it would be, okay, I get, oh, she's all she's got. Tabby's all this character's got. Fine, but that's one line. That's one or two lines. You know, you can touch on it again later. She loves Tabby. That's all she's got in the world. We know she's a caring, nurturing person. You can kind of get that. So we don't really need Tabby every single line, pretty much, to remind us of that. So cut out all that crap. And if you can't finish a page, if you can't think of a way to finish a page, then just don't. Just wait until a flash of inspiration hits you and you go, oh, I know what would happen in this moment. I know what this character would say right now. Then go back and write some more of your book. You don't have to finish this book. You don't have to pad it out with just rubbish. Okay, the next one's a big one. You've got werewolves and magic at your disposal. So it was your choice to write a fantasy romance novel all about werewolves and rival wolf packs. And fine, that's been done, but it doesn't mean it can't be done again, and it doesn't mean it can't be done in an interesting way. But you're not doing this in a way that's interesting whatsoever. You're doing this in the most boring way I could possibly imagine, because no one ever is a werewolf, and we don't know why, and it's not, the world around us is not explained. Okay, so do humans live alongside them in this world? Do they have to live in secrecy? They have attempted to eat humans? Are they like reviled and hunted down and killed by humans? There's no explanation. None of this is offered. It's just, I think the first line we get, obviously the blurb, I think she counts on the description of the story to explain a lot of it, because that explains what her character looks like. That explains what Alpha Austin looks like. And we get she's also a wolf, but that's all on the back of the book. Like, you need to tell us these things within the story. Imagine if in Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling never explained the difference between the wizard world and the muggle world. Imagine if that was just never addressed and never explained. It would be so bizarre. And imagine if they never used their magic and they rarely went to Hogwarts. It would just be weird. It's weird. Like, why don't you just write a romance novel? If you don't want to really touch on the werewolf thing, if you're not maybe too comfortable with it, then just don't. You don't have to do it. Again, like not having to write this book, you don't have to write a book about werewolves if you don't want to write about werewolves. I would like to know, can anyone become a werewolf? Can they, like I said earlier, can you only be a werewolf at night, or do they have different powers? Do they retain their personality when they become werewolves? Like, these are the things that are interesting to a reader in a novel like this. Okay, I pick up a fantasy novel because I want to know about the fantasy world. I don't want to hear about them getting in the car and going to the supermarket and cleaning up and washing. It's boring. It's boring. I don't know. Don't write about werewolves, I guess. Okay, the next one as well. If you're introducing magic, like mind links and shifting, like, all right, we can extrapolate from what we know of werewolves in popular culture, maybe what these terms mean, but it's your story. So you tell us what they mean in your tale. Tell us what they mean in this world, of the world of Healer. Tell us what they mean. Tell us what a mind link is, what it does. It just seems something that you put in there so the characters can communicate secretly when it's convenient. Because there's so far, and look, admittedly, I've only read I think about a third of the book, because this is a short story, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't like some long epic Lord of the Rings tale that I'm only like on the surface of. I'm about a third or quarter through. This is a short story, and this is #1 on the short stories website, by the way. This is top of the charts. That's where we are in life. Anyway, I digress. Don't leave the explanation of magic to the reader. Don't leave it to my imagination. Like, you need to tell me what the limitations of a mind link are. You need to tell me if anyone can do them. Why didn't Alpha Austin at any point of the story mind link with Molly or someone else? Or why didn't they all mind link at the barbecue? Or why didn't they? Because for all I know, they could have been having like a psychic battle at the barbecue, and the two alphas are mind linking and they're locked in battle, or they all turn into wolves and have a fight. I mean, that would have been a great action scene. But obviously, I have a sneaking suspicion you also can't write action scenes. I feel like all you can really write about is cleaning and cooking, which sucks, and I'm sorry to say, but like maybe do a little less writing and a little more reading. Or a little more prep, at least. And then give your characters some character, right? I think in the first third of that book, we were introduced to 7 or 8 characters who I'm guessing will be principal characters. I'm sure a couple more will come along. But I don't know what any of them look like. I don't know any of their motivations really outside of Alpha Austin and Molly. So forget them two, they're off the table, but I still don't know really much about either of them. But Colin and Ronnie and Frank and all these I don't know, other than they hate and abuse Molly and kick her and that she's a slave to them. That's all I know, but that doesn't tell me anything about who they are, what they want, why they do this, why any of this is happening. Again, we don't know what any of them look like. Like, when you're writing a book, I've got to be able to picture these characters in my head. I've got like grey blank slates that I'm picturing driving these cars, just like shop mannequins without clothes. That's because you haven't painted an accurate picture for me. You didn't say the place they live in, what that looks like, and is it like some sort of compound? Is it like, because I had to picture it being in the middle of the woods, because that's where I associate werewolves probably living. But you just didn't give us any of this stuff. It was just kind of like, here they are, and this is what's happening, and who gives a fuck about the rest? It's really weird. It's really weird. I also may have introduced like a secondary plot by this point. Like, okay, there's rival packs, but that's not really a plot. That's just like the world. That's how the world works. There's the love story. Maybe I would have had like Beta Philip secretly wants to overthrow Alpha Austin, and something. Give it anything, or there's a rivalry between Ronnie and Philip because they want to be the beta and move up the ladder, or something, like anything like that. Perhaps, maybe, please. The next one's an easy one. Just some basic grammar and punctuation. I mean, like, if I like broke into a house and opened your laptop and saw these as notes, I wouldn't be telling you to like, oh, fix your grammar and stuff, but you've put this out there like it's a finished product for people to enjoy and read. Like, you're done, oh, there we go, finished, there you go, enjoy the book, but it's not finished. It's not even close to finished. I don't think you've even proofread your own work. Like, you can't, not everyone gets someone to proofread a whole book, but I don't even feel like you've gone over it yourself in Microsoft Word and just looked which words have a red squiggly line underneath. That will tell you where you're going wrong with your punctuation and grammar, because it's so hard to read. It's so hard to read. It's a short story, but it took me so long. I could have read Game of Thrones in the same time. It's ridiculous. And then I guess touching off that point as well would be just use a thesaurus. Like, so much of the words you use are exactly the same. I bet I could probably count on 2 hands every word that was used in that first third quarter of the book I read. And that's not fun, that's not interesting, like, and things like having a wee, and then just think of like, is there a more graceful, elegant way that a character might say this? Is there a word that's more evocative and interesting and gets into the reader more than I'm using right now? Like, It's hard to think of specific examples now because I'm trying to purge it from memory, but just simple things like that could make the book so much better. Like your own writing could be so much better, but it feels like I said earlier, like you've got almost contempt for your own work, and that's really weird. It's a really weird thing to see, to read, just like this author who just sort of like didn't really want to write this book, didn't really want to write about werewolves, didn't really know what to do, but just like, fuck it, I'll get it done, I'll bash a book out. Because you've got like 4 or 5 books on your page, like you're somewhat of an aspiring author. Or maybe it is just for fun, but then if it's for fun, why does it feel like so forced? I don't know, anyway. I don't know. Anyway, that's the end of, I guess part 1, maybe, of this video. Like, maybe we'll come back to this, because, again, I am only not too far through the book. So, yeah, if you've enjoyed it, let me know. I mean, I did not enjoy it at all. I really didn't enjoy it. But I can't wait to find out who Alpha Austin's going to growl at next, and what Molly's going to clean, and what scraps she's going to eat, and Tabby, the most important character of the story. I can't wait to see what happens with Tabby. Maybe she'll turn into like the biggest werewolf of all, and I'll have egg on my face. Maybe the book gets really great after this. I don't know. I doubt it.